All right, let's talk about the Denver Nuggets. That's right. I have the Denver Nuggets at the 4th seed in the West this year. I'll talk a little bit about their offseason here, and along with other things. But my name's Adam. Thanks for clicking on the video. Today I'm talking about the Nuggets and kind of where they're going to land and how their season is going to look, kind of storylines from the offseason, all these other things you see on screen here, right here. I don't know. Talk about their salary cap situation, their rotations, win total by Vegas, and go from there. If you want other videos, feel free to subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment. Go check out other teams that I've talked about. I am going in reverse order of where I think the standings are. So we already have 4 through 15 for both conferences by the end of the day. We'll have 4 through 15, and then the last 3 seeds on each side we will talk about next week. Let's jump into it, though. So Denver, I liked what they did in the offseason, and they didn't have a whole lot of flexibility. There's so many teams that didn't have flexibility, but they were still able to make a good team and make a good situation a little bit better. Boston comes to mind. Who was in the, obviously Denver here. And an example of a team that didn't really do that is Dallas. They didn't really get that much better, but Denver still got better, even though they didn't have a whole lot of leg room to have. So let's talk about what they did in free agency. It was just Jeff Green. Jeff Green was coming from Brooklyn. I think Green provides a solid presence for the team, a nice player that can play either forward position, but I think they might have him play the center position at times for the team in the regular season. One of my bigger, wow, I can't believe he fell players in the draft is Nah'Shon Hyland. Denver has done this historically where they still get good players at where they're being picked at. Like Nah'Shon Hyland at 26, he will not be the 26th best player in this draft. I can guarantee you that. Hyland is really good. Now, whether he gets a whole lot of minutes this season is yet to be really seen. They do have Campazzo. They do have Monty Morris. We'll break their rotation a little bit more in the video. But for the most part, Hyland and Green, I think, are as good of players as you can get. And you only lost McGee, who they weren't really playing a whole lot of. And then they lost Paul Millsap, who, to be honest, I think some Nuggets fans probably couldn't care less. So, yeah. So let's move over to their cap sheet here. Whoops, I am not clicking well today. Let's talk about their cap sheet. So in the cap sheet here for Denver, you can see it looks beautiful. They're paying their 3 best players the 3 highest salaries. They're paying Jokic, they're paying Murray, they're paying Aaron Gordon. They even extended Aaron Gordon in the offseason here. And so they'll have that kind of core 3 together for a while. After that, they also did bring back Will Barton in free agency and re-signed their own players, so they didn't lose anybody there. Monty Morris is still part of the team. Jermichael Green, Michael Porter Jr., who we will talk about in a minute, Jeff Green, Facundo Campazzo, Bol, Zeke Njai, and then PJ Dozier as well on the bench. So I don't see any ability that the Nuggets have to be able to trade. Their best, the player that kind of comes to mind is Will Barton. They just re-signed him, so I don't think there's really any moves that the Nuggets make. I think this is mostly their team, and the team's biggest acquisition or add to the roster will be when Jamal Murray comes back from his injury, which we still don't really know a whole lot about. I heard that there is a little bit of optimism for maybe January, maybe at the All-Star break, but it's hard for me to kind of project them out. I still have them here at the 4 seed in the West. I do think they're that good. And a big reason why I think they're going to be that much stay at the 4 seed level is because of Michael Porter. Michael Porter completely exploded and showed that he can be a really good player in the league. And once the Murray injury happened, you saw his numbers take a jump. You saw his usage go up. His shooting numbers are really high to the point where I'm I think they're going to come down a little bit because he was shooting 45% from 3. And so that's obviously going to come down a little bit. But I do feel like he's another guy that's going to be a perennial 20-point scorer for the team. There are questions about his defense. I think there are questions about his motor. But I do really like Michael Porter. I think he can help kind of level this team out, help keep him, help really steady the ship, him and obviously the former or the reigning MVP in Nikola Jokic. I think that those two together, along with solid coaching, along with solid bench play, will be able to keep this team and the ship afloat to have home court advantage in the playoffs next year. Anything else from their cap sheet situation? Maybe they got to make a decision on Facundo Campazzo, but I mean, he's a restricted free agency, so never mind. Dozier, I think I haven't heard too much about his injury and how he's doing, but Dozier was a player that I think was going to get more minutes last season, and a player that the Nuggets are high on, so an extension is looming for him, depending on what they want to do. They did also bring back Austin Rivers after signing him after the Jamal Murray injury. So nothing crazy. I don't see any big roster movement in the season for the Nuggets other than adding Jamal Murray back. Let's talk about the starting five here for the Nuggets and what the rotation will look like. So there is a little bit of a logjam at point guard. And this is one of the reasons why I kind of mentioned that Highland, I don't know exactly how many minutes he will get to start off his rookie year. You have Monty Morris. Well, let's go through the starting five real quick. Facundo Campazzo. It could be Morris, but Campazzo has started games there. I think he was starting in the playoffs too. Will Barton, Michael Porter, Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic. So those 5 players in the starting 5 opening night for the Nuggets. Bench players are Monty Morris, Austin Rivers, Jeff Green, JaMychal Green, and Bol Bol. I think all of us want to see what Bol Bol is going to bring to the table this year. We'll see if we even get to see that. But back to the point guard kind of situation again. Jamal Murray is injured and won't be a part of the team's games for months into the season, I think it's fair to say. But Campazzo, Morris, and Austin Rivers can play that ball handling point guard role. Does Highland break the rotation at all? I like Highland. I think he's a good player. Do I think he's probably better than what Campazzo is and what Austin Rivers is right now? I think he will get to that point, but does that mean that he'll start the season getting minutes? I don't know. I think we could see some DNPs for Highland just because they have guard depth already. So we'll have to see kind of how that situates itself. Other than that, they have good front court depth. You do worry maybe there's another forward that I'd like to have other than the 4 of Porter, Gordon, and the 2 Greens. I know that they do like Zeke Njai. We'll see what happens there. But other than that, it's pretty good. And look, I think this is a team that, it does struggle on defense, but I do feel like the Joker and Michael Porter Jr., 2 really good players, are better than the 2 better players on Dallas, who I recently talked about, and are my 5 seed going into the season. I think those 2 players are good. Now, it's kind of a love-hate relationship between my thoughts of Jamal Murray and what the perceived thoughts of him are. I don't think he's as good as what people think he is. And so if I were the Nuggets, here's my controversial pick or opinion about the Nuggets. If I was the Nuggets, obviously the injury hurts, it sucks, but I do think that I would potentially look to see if I could potentially move him. And what could Jamal Murray net the Nuggets in the end? I don't know. I think he's a little overhyped, to be honest with you. I know people are going to hate that. Again, they were a little bit better with him not playing. And I know people are going to say, they got swept by the Suns, so how can they be that much better? I don't know if Jamal Murray flips that series. Do they win 4 games with Jamal Murray playing? I don't think he's that kind of player. They maybe win 1. They maybe win 2. But they're not beating the Suns last year with Jamal Murray. Just going to be honest with you. Let's move over to the Vegas projection. Vegas has them at 47.5 wins, which is 1 win less than what Dallas has. I think that I will trust. I'm not crazy about Mike Malone, but I will tell you, I do trust him a lot more than I do trust Jason Kidd. I believe in the roster. I believe in, again, Jokic coming off an MVP season. I believe in Michael Porter Jr. in what I think he will be the most improved player of the year this year, barring something crazy. So the combination of those things, the combination of getting Aaron Gordon on defense, helping the perimeter defensive end a little bit more last year, All those combined things, I think they're better than Dallas. I will take the over on this. I think they're going to be pushing for 50 wins, if not more. I could even see them getting to 52. So I will smash the over on the Nuggets 47.5 win total. I think they're putting a little bit too much weight in the Jamal Murray situation where, oh, well, Jamal Murray's not going to play, so we're going to have the Nuggets be a little bit lower. No. Take the over on this. Barring something crazy, the Nuggets will be better than 47.5 wins. Let me know what you guys think about the video. Comment, like, subscribe to the channel. Right now, I'm going to talk about the Eastern Conference 4 seed and talk a little bit about what's going on with that team because it's a little wild. We'll catch you in the next video, and we'll see you soon.